Not yet. It says not. Oh, there we go. All right. So now we'll go to Instagram. And there you go. Oh, he's got his arms up. Yay.
Oh, I thought we were doing a wave. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Now
No, yeah.
now I just feel naked.
Not, yeah. Now you're just doing the wave, right? You're just being silly. Come on. Come on. There we are. Now we're live everywhere. There you go. He's doing the wave. All right. Let me go back over. And there we are. Perfect. There. All right. So at followers, at, well, everyone, and all the good stuff. Everyone. And at followers. And who else can we get? And at highlights, yes, right?
Yes, George.
Cool. All righty. There we are. So comments have started. We're into the play. All right. Well, welcome to Testosterone Tuesday. This week's show, we're going to talk about living independently. And one of the things that does require is maintaining muscle and functional strength. Now, if you just think that muscles, I mean, look at these two Grecian gods, but if you think muscles is just for beach time, you're sadly mistaken. You're missing the crucial things and the functions that it does. Sadly mistaken. And oh, there we go. I just got commented. All right, cool. There we are. There we are. Okay, cool. Yay. I heard an echo of me. And so, what we're going to talk about being strong, we're going to talk about insulin resistance and gut dysbiosis, and we're going to talk about what we're doing and what we have done to improve our ability, right? Our ability to have a future. And that's really dealing with longevity, isn't it? I mean, I don't know about you guys, and I'm just going to throw it out real quick. Have you ever dealt with someone that had a lot of falls, or as they literally got older? I mean, I'm talking 80s, not 70s and 60s, but oh, Keith raised his hand. Keith,
Yeah.
talk to me about falls.
It had gotten to the point, George, where literally I was telling people that a stiff breeze would push me over. I had gotten to where I was struggling even walking. When I could walk before I really got sick, I if I stood up, I had to stand up and hold on to something for a minute just to get my bearings. In fact, I remember one night I had stepped out on my porch before I moved, and next thing I remember is I was laying on the concrete floor and had skinned up the back of my head to where I was
Oh,
bleeding
cannoli.
and skinned up my knee. And I actually called my daughter, and I'm like, I think, because I couldn't see the back of my head, but I'm like, I think you need to come over here and take a look at this, make sure I didn't do anything serious. And she came over, and I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good either.
Was that with or without ice on the pavement?
That was without ice. I just stepped outside, and I was. It's kind of a pit where I used to live, where you walk out 7 steps up to get out. Well, I was leaning against that wall, and I know I didn't feel great, and I think I turned around to go back in because I wasn't feeling that great. And next thing I know, I was on the concrete,
Yeah.
just laying there trying to get up. And when I was struggling so bad to even move, getting up became a real chore.
Wow. So loss of balance was real, and that fall.
Oh yeah, I was I. There were days I wouldn't go. There were hell weeks that I would go that I there wasn't a point in each day that I didn't fall or trip, and I always attested it to my left leg because after the Guillain-Barré, I'm like, well, my leg just quits working at times, and I go to step, and next thing you know, it's like, okay, there's legs not helping, and down I would go. It was pretty common
Well, now explain, help everybody understand. You understand Guillain-Barré, but most people don't.
Yeah.
What is that
What
like,
what
and what
it
is it?
it destroyed my it's an autoimmune disorder that attacked it eats the coating off your nerves. So I was in excruciating pain all the time, and that caused the circulation to have issues. My legs were swelling up, and there were times where I would be walking and I would just lose feeling in my complete left leg.
Well, okay. Now, James, have you ever have any sequence of loss of balance or falls or any of the things like that? Have you had any of that?
George, the only thing I can really contribute with that, and then this plays right into it, is back when I was suffering with AFib, extremely suffering with it. Sometimes my heart rate would get as high as 180 beats per minute, and I have actually blacked out from that. And when
Well,
that
explain what
happens, you hit the
AFib
ground.
is. Let's talk. Let help people understand. Like people hear that term. What is that like? What is AFib? I mean, other
Uh,
than a lie, other than a fib, a lie. What is AFib?
AFib, atrial fibrillation, can hit you in. That's kind of a broad term. I myself, when I would go into AFib, of course, it's irregular heartbeats, and mine went rapid. I have known people that AFib actually causes them to skip beats or have very slow. So it could go either way. But for me, I could go from a resting heart rate of, let's say, 60 and jump up into the 120s, 130s in a second, just when it would hit me, because it's AFib is the electrical impulses that go into your heart. You should just have one pathway telling your heart to beat right the way it's supposed to. But when you start having rogue or electrical pathways firing in your heart that shouldn't, then you've got multiple pathways telling your heart when to beat.
So
So
you both had electrical system issues then, didn't you?
Yep. I
I
had
mean,
AFib as well as James, and he's right. My average resting heart rate when I was normal was about 60. And like you said, literally the drop of a dime, it would change that rapidly and that fast because I was having multiple heartbeats, and then the heartbeat was my pulse was dropping
okay,
significantly.
okay, all right. Now, what do you guys just on a quick whim? What advice did you get on that topic, or what type of treatment, and did it work or what? Let's talk about let's go a little bit further into that.
for me, it was quite the journey. I was being heavily medicated to control it, uh, and or to help control it. It never did complete. It didn't take care of it. And then I ended up, in the hospital and had an ablation where they go in and try to locate and deaden that electrical pathway by burning it or heating it. Um, that helped, but it didn't get rid of it. So I ended up having another one that helped a little more, but didn't get rid of it. So I was still being medicated for it, and it was controlling it pretty good after all I just mentioned, up until I had the heart attack at 50, and then I started all over with the AFib again. It came back, in full force.
Kula Kukaracha, holy moly! That that wow! That leaves me in the quandary. Like when you were medicated, guys, what kind of medications were you getting for that? Like gabapentin or
Uh, unlike unlike James, I never knew I had AFib until I went in the hospital last January. That's when they found it. And when I left the hospital, I was on 5 different blood pressure medication.
so
I
all
was
blood pressure.
on, yeah, they were all trying to, it, nothing. I mean, it was a handful of pills every morning and every evening. And which, like James said, did it help? It did to a degree. I didn't feel as messed up as I had prior to that, but it never took it totally away. I actually, after I started addressing the root cause, which you and James both know, I had gone down to one blood pressure medication, and even that I was never told, well, your levels have to be here to take this medication. I came home the first night with the one, and came home, took my blood pressure, went all right, popped a pill, and passed out. And
Okay,
she's like,
boy.
"Oh no, it's got to be higher than that." I'm like, "Well, but it's not." I I don't know what to tell you.
So did you ever guys, did you ever have to use a cane or anything like that, or that
Yeah,
wasn't
I was a cane and a walker.
because I see
No,
more
I did.
okay, it seems like I see more and more people, young people, and I'm talking people 40s, 50s, 60 to me is young too. I mean, I'm 74, but I'm starting to see more frequent people with canes, three-legged canes,
Yep,
using walkers or using, maybe they're not using a walker, but they're using the grocery cart as a walker.
I had gone that far at one point.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's have a couple fun questions here. So let's say you're at a high-end steakhouse, all right? And you can only pick one to defend your testosterone. A 16-ounce ribeye dripping in butter or a mountain of chilled jumbo shrimp cocktail. Which would you choose?
Go
Game.
ahead, James.
James, me, I will always go with that ribeye
Ribeye. All right.
and
Yes,
that butter.
indeed.
Okay, so question number 2 on a gym myth. Talking about the gym. What's a bigger waste of human energy? A 25-year-old spending 2 hours checking his hair between sets at the gym, or an absolute refusal to drink enough water while sitting on the couch? And neither one of you have hair, so it's going to
What
water.
are you trying to say, George? Come on.
It's just Captain Obvious. Okay. All right. Question number 3 today. The Craving Monster. It's 9 p.m. All right. It's 9 p.m. Central Time, Eastern Time. I don't really give a rip. It's 9 p.m. Okay. The kitchen's calling your name. Do you drink a glass of water and pretend you're asleep? Or do you reach for a clean, zero carb, keto protein shake and call it a tactical victory?
I would snack. I'm not gonna lie to you. Before, when I had cravings 24/7, that yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
tried to
that's
pick something better. Obviously, like I love bananas, and but now I don't have that issue.
Okay. So, James, what would
my
you
for,
pick?
my former life. I would have had something terrible for me. Something loaded with sugar probably. Now I would, I would probably resort for some water or our very very good tea and
Yeah.
resist.
Decaf tea. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, that's my willpower in a bottle there as far as fighting those
Perfect.
urges.
Exactly. Willpower and power. Now, who had more functional raw strength? A modern bodybuilder who needs 5 different colored powders just to wake up, or your grandfather, like me, who carried heavy crates all day and ate real steak?
Yeah, the real, real is in my opinion the good stuff, not the
Yeah.
synthetic stuff.
Yep. Dad,
Yeah,
dad's
my
word. Yeah.
I remember my grandpa up until his, oh gosh, it had to be close to 80. He was still out working the farm with the goats and the from Arkansas. So, and he'd go to the sale every weekend, and he was strong as an ox.
Yep.
And it was functional strength,
Yeah.
not strength for looks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
isn't it amazing? Is that if sometimes you can do things and you have the endurance now, right? You have the strength and endurance just to keep going, where before you would Need to stop. And now I got to go grab a power drink, or I need to grab a snack, a handful of nuts. Oh, it's okay. I earned it. I think that's kind of the thing. One of the funny stories I can tell you was with we were hiking in the Grand Canyon, and my friend, we got up about, it was 800 feet up, and it was about at the Grand Canyon desert, 100 and whatever degrees, right? And so we're cruising along, and about 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the hike, he goes, guys, look at this. This is a Kodak moment. We'll never see this again. So picture. Go another 10 minutes. Guys, this is a Kodak. And it ended up being about every 5 minutes. And then we got up 800 feet, and he goes, this is it? This is all we came up here for? It was a granary, which just a basic hole in the cave that was covered so that the natives could hide their things. So, but I'm just going along smooth as, I'm definitely no bodybuilder guy. That's not my vibe at all. In fact, I don't like to sweat about it. I just like to motor through and be done with it. So cool. So let's talk about brain fog with muscles. Now, the brain is a muscle. Now, if you've had brain fog, or if you know about brain fog, how does brain fog happen? What's going on with this thing that we sometimes call brain fog?
Well, I mean, I was afflicted with pretty bad brain fog. I didn't necessarily realize it while I was in the midst of it, but once it cleared up, I was like, my gosh, I was bad, and I've come to learn since then, as far as the cause of it, is all that sugar that I was putting in my system, and mental clarity is amazing now. It's a gift. I mean, it's really I really have a lot of I've gained a lot from it, where I'm at now compared to where I was, and how much better, reading and comprehending and paying attention and remembering, I'm not making those trips into the kitchen and then standing there wondering why it was I went in there. So that's just a small example, but yeah, I mean, it's really the quality. I guess quality of life has improved greatly in that aspect.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with James. I mean, I was getting to the point where I was having trouble even functioning at work, and I had things that I had done every single day, the same way every single day, and it was getting to the point where I was struggling just to keep focus on what I was doing. Things that would typically take me 5 to 10 minutes were now taking me 20 minutes, half an hour, or even longer. And like James said, you don't realize just how bad it is until you don't have it. You start remembering things. I'm starting to remember phone numbers from back when I was a kid, a little guy.
When you're a wee tyke, when you're a wee tyke. Huh? But the whole thing is that, see, the brain is a muscle, and a muscle needs energy, right? A muscle needs energy. That's a big thing about muscles. Are a big power plant, and they have the richest amount of mitochondria, but our brain needs it too. But brains go on what fuel? Do they need sugar, or do they need ketones? What is the brain's preferred energy source, guys?
Ketones,
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
definitely. Yeah, they prefer ketones.
And where do the ketones? Where are the majority of ketones produced? On the liver, and coming from the gut, and coming from the muscles. But they can't work. And the thing we've learned is what? You can't burn fat if you got sugar going on, right? And because if sugar is there in the bloodstream, glucose, there has to be a large amount of what? Insulin. And that shuts down the whole thing. So the liver can't start on its steel until that's gone out of the wayside, gone to the wayside.
Right.
So if you think about it that way, your brain's actually starving. It's like, hey, Merlin, how are you, buddy? So the brain's actually starting to starve. And when that connection is lost, it starts to, then we have seen what? Atrophy. The brain starts to shrink. Now, if we can change that scenario, right? If we can change the scenario and get it, I don't want to say if we can get it back to where it used to, we can come back to where it's supposed to be, it will fix itself because it takes care of itself on those small little times when you stop eating long enough for it to actually work, right?
Right.
But if we're constant fueling that mill, it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, James was just up fishing for smallies in Lake Erie. But if he kept throwing out a 2 pound weight in the same spot, eventually it ain't gonna be no fish there. They're just gonna say, I don't want no, whatever is going on, we're gonna go someplace quieter. We're gonna place someplace where there's really food exists. And that's the same kind of thing. So that's really where we start looking at the brain as a muscle. And so it needs to be exercised, right? And we do that. We do that with constant things, but it needs to be fed, doesn't it? It needs to be fed. It needs to be fed those ketones. Because, hey, Carrie, how are you, girl? But when we have those kinds of moments of brain fog, then everything goes to the rule. And then we start really doing all kinds of guy things, don't we? We kind of deflect, defer. Well, we shrug it off. I don't know about you, but that's me. I mean, I was like, oh yeah, well, okay. And then you don't want to think about it as being old. You don't want to think about being aged too. Hey, thanks, Gary. They all look great. Look at these young guys over here. And so we don't want to feel that that's the deal. But we also, I don't know about you, but I had a fear, a real fear, conscious fear, that I would turn into one of those people that is dependent,
Yep.
that can't feed them. I mean, that God love them because someone has to, but I didn't want to turn into that. And what about you guys? Same thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Last thing I ever want to be is a burden on someone else, especially children or family members. Yep.
That's where
I owe it to them not to put them through that.
Yeah, and that's where I was at, George. I had put my daughter through so much by me not knowing better and me letting things slide until they got to that point that I don't ever want to put her through that, at least for another 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
Definitely not when she was in her early 20s.
Yeah. I mean, like when I hit that all-time insane high blood glucose at 834 and an A1C of 18.1.
Yeah, I mean, more I learned is procrastination when it comes to your health is the worst decision or the worst thing you can do. I see it with so many people and myself. You just put things off until, oh my God, now I have to do something. If we just, especially guys, we're so hard-headed. If we would just act when we first realize the situation or we first start seeing the issues, we'd save ourselves so much trouble. But we don't.
Really,
we put it off until we have
really
to.
Would. We really would.
And now I realize with you guys, and that seems like the thing I've noticed, and as we start seeing it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? But the idea is that sometimes guys, they're just stubborn. That we get that big bullhead bravado.
Yep.
But I think, and what do you guys think? That it's actually they've given up hope. They don't want to admit weakness.
I would say giving up hope. That for sure. For me, anyway, I was right there where I truly didn't think I was going to make it. And at some point you just stop and just be like, okay, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And it was a rude awakening for me to get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, beyond insanity, I mean, you literally were gone.
Well, with my situation, I I procrastinated and put it off till I was an hour, well, about 45 minutes away from death. You know, whenever I finally, talking about when I had my heart attack,
Yeah,
I
right.
just I just I don't know what to blame it on, but I just kept putting it off and putting it off, and till I almost, you know,
Until you get pushed to the curb, right?
I mean, that just shows my stubbornness and my ignorance. I took it to the very limit almost. And there would have been nobody to blame but myself because I knew I just kept ignoring and pushing,
Hmm.
pushing.
And you had a widowmaker, right? I mean,
I did, yes.
your heart attack was called a widowmaker. I mean that yours isn't just a heart attack. It's like yours was
No, I
like,
mean, the doctor
oh,
said if I would have been another 45 minutes later getting there, it would have been a whole,
an
it would have
entirely
been
different
bad.
picture.
Yeah,
Entirely different
I would
picture.
be gone. I wouldn't be here right now. Yeah, I
And,
mean,
and and Keith, you were when you had your final attack, you were on the floor, or what how did you get to the hospital that final time?
My daughter came over because I wasn't answering the phone, and she came over and found me unresponsive on the couch, and then called the ambulance, and they came, and I guess 4 or 6 of them showed up, and they dropped me once and scooped me up, but they got me to the hospital. I don't even remember going to the hospital. I remember I had no clue where I was at. I guess I was very combative because I didn't feel I needed to be there, and truly did had no idea just how serious the situation was until probably a week after, when they finally got the infection and everything else under control. At
Now
least
what
enough to where I was somewhat cognizant.
Sure. Now you said they dropped you. I'm going like, what did you weigh at that time?
I was 285, almost 300 pounds, somewhere in that range.
And you're down 100 and
182,
down 100 and 100.
103, like
103 pounds.
103, 103, 103 or 5 pounds. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And James, after you had your heart attack, you were pretty well ready to go, fit, or were you a
oh
little bit
no,
heavy or
I was far from fit. I mean, I was a workaholic. And I had an office job, so I wasn't physical at all. No, I was pushing 200 pounds. I was in at least in the 190s, and um, I'm like in the low to mid 160s now. So yeah, no, there was nothing healthy about me, and no, I didn't jump right back up and take off after the heart attack. I was down for a while. I mean, it after the heart attack, it seemed like, and I don't know if it's accurate or not, but it seemed like once I had the heart attack, it triggered all those other little things to turn into big things. So it seemed like there for a while, it was just like I would deal with one thing until the next thing popped up, and it would be
like what?
something.
Like what was
Uh,
the rainbow?
I have several messed up discs in my back and my neck, pinched nerve in my elbow, carpal tunnel in both wrists. I tore a rotator cuff. Um, just I was a contractor in construction work all my life, and all that beating and banging. It seemed like once my body, once I had that heart attack, it seemed like once my body got weakened, it just allowed all those things to become significant.
Yep.
So all the tissue was rebelling at now, right? I mean the tissues, the joints, everything kind of just disengaged and said, "Well, it got its chance. Now it's our turn." Is that kind of, or did it just did it become more conscious, noticeable than what it was before, or now was these were these different steps, guys, that occurred now that you had the big event?
I don't know I don't know the what was what, but I just know that you know all those all those little things turned into big things, and I ended up in pretty bad shape, and they were wanting to operate on me. I needed 2 operations right away, but the cardiologist wouldn't let them touch me. I couldn't go under. I couldn't be put on the operating table because of my heart. So I had to try to deal with it in other ways, So they tried some therapy and pain management, but there again, I was going through some therapy and they stopped it because my AFib was going
Yep.
crazy, and they were scared to mess with me. So I even couldn't do any of the therapy or the when I say pain management, I couldn't have any of the drugs to help with the pain because because of my heart. So I was kind of in a catch-22. I had lots of problems and lots of things going on. The pinched nerve in my elbow left my left hand virtually useless. I mean, it's still, I don't have, I probably got, let's say 50% function in it maybe now. So yeah, so it was just a perfect storm as far as everything that happened.
Yeah,
Keith and you?
mine was similar with that. Mine was more of a build up to the major event. I mean, over the past 4 years, I had both elbows worked on, both wrists, both hands, my my foot, my neck, all trying to fix nerve issues because, like James, I was losing use of my hands. And did it help? Yes, but it didn't get me as far as I am today. It got it manageable to where yes, I had some feeling, and yes, I didn't have the trigger fingers that were causing, locking in place and but yeah, I've had, I want to say last I counted up, in the past 4 years, I've had 10 surgeries
Holy moly.
just trying to fix nerves and damage and just trying to regain, like James had said, some quality of life. I mean, I was having trouble picking up, just a nut or a bolt. And I love building things and working on things. And when you can't pick up the nut and thread it onto the bolt, that's inherently a problem.
Yeah, I couldn't use my left hand. I couldn't trust it to hold anything. I couldn't do any of the finite little, like picking up something like for example, let's say like a toothpick laying on the table. I couldn't pick it up with my hand because I had no control. I didn't have those
Yeah,
motor skills anymore.
Well, that had
exactly.
to really make a mess with you, James, when you're trying to fish, grabbing a jig and tying the knots, or
Yeah, at that time, if I was fishing, I would have to rely on whoever my buddy, my friend was with me to help me with those things because I could still do the big things. It's just I couldn't anything small or anything that involved both hands or my left hand. Yeah, it just didn't work anymore. And I still suffer with that in my left hand. Not nearly
not
like
as
you
bad
just
as it was,
no,
right?
no.
Now
I can function.
and Keith, you were diabetic, and James, you never were diabetic, right?
No, I was not.
You were never
No.
diabetic, but you did have insulin resistance, I'm
Oh,
guessing.
yeah, of course. My body was eat up with inflammation.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And so and then I didn't have a heart attack. I didn't have the ulcers. My whole thing is I just decided to blow myself up, but I didn't have to go to the hospital. I didn't have those kinds of issues. And so there's different things, even though I should have been everywhere as near at dear death as you two. Blood wise, I mean, we already know people that at 600 they're stroking and comas and cardiovascular and everything else like that. But at 800, it's just beyond yesterday and tomorrow. But when we start looking at now that you guys you've had your major issues. Okay, we're not going back to that path, right? We're off that path. What are you doing to stay strong, to preserve your independence, your mobility? What are 3 or 4 things that you're doing with your diet, with your exercise, your sleep, whatever? What are some things you're doing?
James, go ahead.
Well, I cleaned up my eating, immensely. I'm really, concentrating on good protein, and of course the fiber and the things that we do in this protocol. Eating good healthy proteins and exercise wise, I don't do much high impact stuff because of the things I'd mentioned before that's wrong with me. But my wife and I do walk regularly, and in general, now that I feel so much better, I'm way more active. I'm always working on something or doing something around the yard, or I just stay way more active. Dropped some significant weight, and just trying to live a little healthier, cleaner lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What James was saying. I concentrate on eating. Not necessarily, I still cheat. Let's be real. I still eat things I probably shouldn't, but I eat a lot better, and using the supplements, the fiber and the tea, it makes it so simple to stay with that regiment. Like tomorrow's my grandson's first birthday. You think I'm not going to have a piece of cake? Of course I will. It's his first birthday. But I won't feel the craving of, well, now that I've had one, I might as well have two or three, four more. I'll have my one small piece and be done with it. But I eat. It's not that I've changed what I eat a whole ton. I just changed the way I eat it and how, what order I eat it in, as to, and I truly believe that's how I was able to reverse my type 2 so quickly, is because I didn't have options, or I didn't feel I had options. And I went full throttle, full force in doing it because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah, and when you started the protocol, we're talking about the protocol, guys. We're talking about drinking 2 teas and having a fiber before our biggest meal. Sometimes some of us have fiber before every meal, or
Yeah,
if we're going to have a big
I do.
slam of pizza or a big bowl of pasta, we might have 2 fibers.
yeah,
Or we might have one before the meal, and then we got pecan pie, and Cheryl makes a great pecan pie. But if the pecan pie or something like that, then we're going to have another fiber before that. And
yeah.
just that protocol makes such a huge difference, doesn't it?
Oh God, incredible difference. I used to be sitting. It was nothing for me to sit in the 300s as a sugar level, and that's when I was shooting 108 units of insulin a day. It's everything I did. Nothing did anything.
Wow.
This has, it for me, was a complete game changer.
James, you still get to eat some of the fun foods you used to eat?
You guys are going to think I'm lying to you, but I don't eat any of that anymore. I have no desire to eat it. You know, I think the last time I ate anything that I would consider along those lines was last year at my birthday. I had a cupcake.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's just me. I mean, I'm to the point now that I don't. I mean, I just don't want sugar. I don't want it. I don't crave it. So why
Yep.
why do that?
Yeah, exactly.
But
And,
that's
and
just me. That's me. And you know, somebody said to me the other day whenever I told them that I took a fiber before every meal, every time I eat, I remember they said, "How in the world do you afford that?" And I said, "Well, how in the world do you afford not to do that?" That's the way I look at it. I don't want to hear that. How do you afford to do it? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
it's my life, it's my health, which I almost threw away completely. So don't tell me that. I'll make a way to find the $1.50 to cover that every time, and
yeah,
I'm not buying frappes from wherever, and I'm not out eating, cakes and cookies. So you know what? I'm not spending all that money I used to on all that
Yes.
stuff that I used to eat.
So
you know,
very
we were
true.
we were
Yeah.
talking. We met our new friend by the name of Alan this last weekend with Michael,
Yeah.
um, and couple things that just read on that cost thing is that he had been on the floor because he had a car accident, something, and was on the floor for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And he was up towards 400 pounds or more. And he saw the protocol and told his wife, we're going to do this. I'm going to do this. And she said, we can't afford it. But we also can't afford the large size coffin.
Yeah.
The supersize, I mean, the morbidity and more morose of this is that a coffin for someone that's 300, 400, 500 pounds is gargantuous dollars, plus the vault special. I mean, it's there. I know one guy that what got him to start and take the corner was the family, and he was a trucker, and the family asked him, is it okay if we cremate you? Because we could afford that. And that's what got him to say, oh, maybe, and turn the corner. John, how are you, buddy? What's going on?
I'm good. Just driving, Well, my wife's driving. I'm passenger.
Okay.
He never drives anymore.
Passenger
Doing
princess.
good, though. I mean, no, we had I am. No, we had a doctor's appointment for my foot, so we're just finishing that up. That's why I'm a little late. And then it started storming, so who knows how the signal is out here. So
cool. And so the doctors like you today again?
Right. So yeah. So good news though, I got 2 more weeks until I see my doctor again. So next week, hopefully, I'm on time.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Hello, Catherine. We love you.
Love you too.
She has done some amazing work.
Yes.
Yes, she has.
Yeah, I found. Catherine. I'll send you a photo that I have of when we were in Miami, or it was Miami,
Miami.
right? And a picture from before that, and a picture of Miami. Now we throw this. I'm just doing it to her. I'm not sending it going anywhere. It's just like, holy moly, mother of mercy, all things big and small. So John,
I used to do it side by side.
Hey, what's up, bro?
It'll be all 3 of them. So John, if you were a huge bodybuilder, and I mean you were Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger and a water tower crossed and ran into each other and became an Angus bull. I mean, talk to us about now.
Yes.
Talk to us about now. Now, after this, is how important is muscles, and what should people know?
Well, like George was saying, I wasn't a bodybuilder. I was more of a power lifter, but I was big like a bodybuilder. I mean, I had 22-inch biceps, 22-inch neck, all that when I graduated high school. Bench presses 600 pounds, squat 600 pounds, deadlift 600 pounds, like it was nothing. But I was 18 years old. Now, I kept eating like I was training. And, shortly after that, when I got diagnosed with diabetes, not thinking, 10 to 15,000 calories a day was what contributed to it, because that's what my strength coach, that's what my football coaches were telling me to do in order to compete. And I had to do that in order to be on the collegiate level, on my way to the NFL. But, diabetes took care of that.
Proceed with caution.
Yeah.
But when I got diagnosed with diabetes, I started hitting the gym even more. Instead of being 1 hour a day, it was turned into 3 hours a day because my doctor told me, eat less, move more. So I was doing that. And did it help? No. It kept the disease slowly progressing. It didn't progress fast, but it slowly progressed. Now, 15 years later, I quit lifting because, life happens. The wife, the kids, life, you got bills to pay. You got to take care of the family. So I quit working out, quit doing this. But I never put 2 and 2 together how much muscle I was losing, because my weight never changed on the scale. I always stayed 300 plus pounds my whole adult life. I never put 2 together that my waist is getting bigger, my shirts are getting bigger. I did see my cheeks and my neck getting fatter, but sure. I just figured I'd just store fat there, not everywhere else. And then once I started looking more into this protocol, 25 years later. That's when I started making the connection about how much muscle I was losing. I didn't realize that being insulin resistant fed into sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting. And now, yeah, I'm not a huge guy like I used to be. I'm still a pretty good sized guy, even though I'm 230 pounds, 225 pounds around there. But I'm not 300 plus no more. But I'm not 22-inch biceps no more either. I'm down to 17, 16, depending on the day. According to the body scan, I'm 14 inches, but that's not flexed. We don't measure on flex. When we measure with the tape measure, you measure a flex. And a flex, I'm 17, almost 18. And that's without going to the gym. I mean, I haven't stepped foot in the gym once since the start of this protocol. And I'm like, what,
Right.
16, 17 months on this now?
Yeah.
And so once I started getting my health back, I started tracking my size again. You know, I was down to a 15-inch bicep flexed at one time.
Severe thunderstorm.
And now 16, 17 months later, I'm up to like 17, 18.
Caution.
And I've been to the gym. So am I putting fat back on? No, because I'm not getting big again. I'm
Right.
actually getting leaner,
Yeah.
and I'm getting my strength back.
Perfect. And that was right into it. Guys, now you're on the protocol. Now we're doing the teas and the fiber. And some of you guys are doing like the everyday protein or doing the stronghold. I mean, do you feel more energy? Do you feel more vitality?
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, since doing this, energy level has been through the roof.
Yep.
I think I've only had a couple instances where I've been like dead tired, but that was because I ate a lot of pizza. I had a lot of pasta the day before. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And remember, I mean, I coached at the Olympic level, national level, international level, athletes from all around the world. And we'd all, back in the day, we'd carb load. I mean, before the day before the meet is pasta, in the morning is pancakes. And like, what the flying horse fart? Where did we learn that? Yeah, I'm just saying, guys. And now what we have is we have my F off system, right? We have the order of food.
Yep.
We follow that.
Hey,
We
be
all
careful
do
what
the
you said,
same
George. You're
degree,
making her
right?
laugh. She can't drive straight.
But we do that, right? So we have an order of food. There's rationality and reason behind everything we do. So
Yes.
We've talked about brain fog. We've talked about staying strong. We talked about our energy, vitality, muscles, and loss of balance and strength. Guys, we're up against the last 3 minutes here before we shut it down. A closing statement from each one of you. What is on muscle strength, on the protocol? Just give me a minute.
Stop doing endless cardio. I mean, truly, that's it. I tried that. The only time I do cardio when I work out is right at the beginning. I do 5 minutes just to warm things up, and at the end I do it for 5 minutes to cool things down. But other than that, cardio. I've seen too many people that do cardio that do not get their results.
Okay.
They're
All right.
so
James, John, either?
My I guess my thing would be stay active. A body in motion is a healthy body. When you stop moving,
Yep.
you're not healthy. You're not doing so. Stay in motion, be active, and try to live an active lifestyle.
Okay. And John.
I want to touch base kind of level on all that. Like he said, cardio. Quit doing cardio. If you're going to do it, do hyper intensity interval training. Hit. Do that. Do the sprints. Do the quick 30 seconds and then rest for a little bit. Don't do the long distance because take them like a marathon runner. They're lean, yes, but they're not muscular lean like a sprinter is. So think about that. And then the other aspect is, like you guys were saying with the protein, try to eat 1 gram of protein for what ideal body weight you want to be. So if you want to weigh 200 grams or 200 pounds, eat protein and make sure you're getting the good source of protein. There's a lot of protein the healthiest or best for you. That's what I love about this everyday protein that Unicity has, because it's only 4 ingredients.
Yep, only 4
I can't
ingredients.
find any other protein that's only 4 ingredients. Yeah.
So
That's basically got it in a nutshell.
yep,
The
perfect.
best whey protein I've ever had.
Yep. And guys, thanks for coming in. Make sure you get rest. Make sure you get fluid. And if you're gonna drink fluid anyway. Might as well make it a yerba mate tea, right? Then you're gonna eat. You might as well get the fiber first. So we just remember the FOS system, and make sure that you come in next week, Tuesday. We'll be back. We'll have
Yes,
another
indeedy.
topic. We'll have these awesome guys. I appreciate it. Have a great week. We'll see you on the next call.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
See you later.